Thank God it's Friday. Monday's a brand new start. Wednesday, you're halfway home, and Thursday, the weekend's not far. Saturday and Sunday, you hang with your friends. What can you say about Tuesday? Nothing, not a damn thing. Tuesday bites, Tuesday sucks, Tuesday blows, go away. Tuesday's crap, Tuesday's lame, Tuesday's dumb, go away. Tuesday, Saturday and Sunday, you hang with your friends. But what can you say about Tuesday?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Rock Mornings, Brian and Gene on a Tuesday morning. Going to be in the mid-80s today. Lots of sunshine, maybe some clouds tomorrow, and then looks like some rain possible on Thursday, maybe a couple of showers on Friday, but then Saturday looks like it's going to be in the 80s and beautiful. So we may have a little bit of rain later on this week. We'll keep an eye on that. Obviously, we got a big motorcycle rally coming up at the end of the week in the area, and people are going to be trying to ride and don't want to do that in the rain, but we'll figure it out. We got Scott Robert Shaw in the newsroom for 3 Ways and Bad News, Happy Music. We'll let you know what's new on New Release Tuesday. Going to talk to Grant Bills from the Wisco Sports Show at about 8:25. All sorts of other stuff to get to this morning as well. If you need something, you can find us online, rockmornings.com. We'll get to some puddle of mud here in just a couple of minutes.
More of your Rock Mornings coming up in just a bit.
Rock Mornings, Brian, Gene, and Shaw in the newsroom. Our first 3-way of the morning. What's up?
There is no verdict yet in the La Crosse murder trial of Nia Tao, who's accused of shooting 3 men to death at a West Salem quarry. Jurors deliberated the case for about 5 hours yesterday before Judge Elliot Levine dismissed them for the night. Tao is on trial for the second time in the 2021 triple murder of Peng Lor, Nemo Yang, and Trevor Maloney. The prosecution argues that Tao was ordered to shoot the men by a second suspect, Cam Radensack, who was owed money by one of the victims. Tao's attorney says the evidence points to Radensack as the shooter. The jury at Tao's first trial a year ago was unable to reach a verdict. A person arrested last week after a suspicious death in La Crosse could make his first court appearance in the case today. John Stumlin is in the county jail and refused to take part in a hearing yesterday, so the case will be called again today. The 55-year-old Stumlin is accused of homicide and hiding a corpse. He was taken into custody after deputies found a dead person's body outdoors at the La Crosse Mobile Home Park on Mormon Cooley Road. Today is Election Day in Wisconsin. Polls opening at 7 o'clock this morning, closing at 8 o'clock tonight. On the ballot will be a 3rd District primary for U.S. House between Democrats Eric Wilson, Katrina Shanklin, and Rebecca Cook. There's also a statewide primary for U.S. Senate between Republicans Charles Barman, Eric Hovde, and Rajani Ravindran. In South La Crosse, in the new 96th Assembly District, there will be a Democratic primary between former La Crosse County Board Chair Tara Johnson and Viroqua business owner Steve Campbell. Another statewide vote will be to change the Wisconsin Constitution. Multiple groups and experts have called the questions confusing. State Senator Brad Pfaff says the stakes of changing the state's constitution are too high to be on a primary ballot that will likely see low voter turnout. The questions have to do with limiting the governor's power to distribute federal money. The La Crosse Loggers baseball team is a series win away from a division championship. The Loggers pounded out 16 hits yesterday on their way to an 8-6 win at Duluth, sweeping the Huskies in the best-of-3 series. The Loggers are off today, awaiting the winner of St. Cloud and Wilmer.
3-way with Shaw in the newsroom. Congrats to the Loggers.
Yeah.
Another big win in Duluth. So it's a 1-game playoff for the division title, and then if they win that, they move on to the Northwoods League Championship Series.
Okay.
Which I think is a best-of-3, but don't quote me on that. Their playoffs are a little confusing in the Northwoods League, to say the least. But a lot of those kids got to get back to school,
True enough.
It's time. It's almost time to start moving in.
Yeah, whether they're playing in Eau Claire or they're playing in Wausau or here in La Crosse, they got to get back to school, Shaw. Successful first season as well for the Northwoods League with their softball.
Mm-hmm. Pretty good crowds.
Seemed like crowds were pretty good. They only had 4 teams this season. No playoffs, but it sounds like they're going to expand. Hopefully, they're trying to at least maybe to 8 teams sometime in the near future. Mm-hmm. And also have a playoff system in place for maybe next season already, which would be cool. So made it out to a couple of games this year. Didn't get to a Steam game, though. I just said, obviously, a lot of time spent on the road going back and forth from here to New Hampshire. Mm-hmm. So, did you get it? You went to one, right, Gene?
I did not go to
the girls?
one.
No?
Yeah, I didn't make it either. We talked about it. We wanted to go, just didn't get it done.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
A bunch of people in our building did, but
yeah.
I was not one of them.
We got Grant Bills joining us a bit later on this morning at about 8:25. Talk, obviously, Packer preseason football. I'm sure he was excited to see Jordan Love.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect passer rating in the
won't
preseason.
See him again.
Probably not going to see him again. Yeah, Matt LaFleur made it sound like none of the offensive starters are going to play for the rest of the preseason. They get these joint practices, and that they can see more during those joint practices than they're going to see in a preseason game. Not to mention a lower risk of injury.
I didn't ask you what you thought about your Bears game this weekend, Sean.
Yeah, I didn't watch any of it, but my son was quite excited about the Bears preseason
Pleasantly surprised with the quarterback development?
Yeah.
It is only a preseason game, so let's bite our tongue here a little bit. Did you catch, too, there was some players that are, I think it was Jonathan Taylor is the last name? The guy from the Colts who wore the Guardian cap in the game?
No.
So you know about the Guardian caps, right?
Yes.
They're the dorky-looking eggshell things that they wrap around your helmet.
Oh, I think I did see something about that.
They've been mandatory in practice for, I think, the last 2 seasons. And now this year, NFL players have the option of wearing them in-game. And he was one of the first, if not the first, to do that and did it over the weekend. And several other players, it sounds like they're going to join up. And my guess is that sometime in the next couple of years, the NFL is going to make them mandatory for anybody who's suffered from concussion-like symptoms.
5 Colts players, including Jonathan Taylor, were wearing them on Sunday.
Which is kind of neat. It's good. You got to have that one guy that steps across the line, Sean.
Somebody's got to be first.
In any situation, whatever that is, and you got to say, okay, you look like a dork. You got a big, weird, dorky helmet on. But whatever, dude, I'm protecting my brain. I got a life to live after this. I got a wife and kids and whatever, plans for the future. And if my eggs are all scrambled upstairs, man, we've seen it time and time again. Junior Seau and many others. Lyle Alzado, all these guys.
James Daniels for the Steelers wore to this weekend. So, like you said, it takes a couple players to say, okay, I'm going to do that first.
And I think it'll be more for players who are susceptible to concussions, right? The running backs, maybe wide receivers, guys who take pops to the helmet on a regular basis, Shaw. I don't know if the quarterbacks are necessarily going to be wearing them or offensive linemen where it's down in the trenches kind of thing there, but certainly the running backs. Man, they're always getting whacked. More from Shaw coming up a bit later on. We'll get to some Puddle of Mud after Jelly Roll and Falling in Reverse.
Rock Mornings. On air, online, on the app.
Puddle of Mud, that is Control. Sounds like Wes Scanlon got arrested again a week or 2 ago. Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. That guy. And I don't know. What are you going to do? Hasn't reached rock bottom yet, I guess. Not surrounding himself with the right people. Not getting the help he needs. Not sure what's going on there. Brew Crew lost to the Dodgers last night 5-2. Second game of that 4-game series is tonight starting at 7:10. You can watch it on TBS. Week 2 of the NFL preseason kicks off Thursday night with the Eagles at the Patriots. That'll be at 6 o'clock on the NFL Network. Vikings will be in Cleveland on Saturday at 3:25, and the Packers are in Denver, Mile High Stadium, Sunday at 7 o'clock on the NFL Network.
Okay.
Sunday night game.
All right.
USA Gymnastics officials say an arbitration panel won't reconsider
Is this the bronze
a
thing?
decision asking gymnast Jordan Childs to return the bronze medal that she was awarded in the floor exercise at the Paris Olympics. USA Gymnastics says it will continue efforts to let Childs keep the medal. So they're going to keep working on this, figure it all out, video evidence, all that stuff. But there's a ton of information out there if you want to read more about it, but that's kind of the encapsulation of what's going on. Red Sox and Major League Baseball suspending outfielder Jarren Duran for 2 games after he uttered an anti-gay slur at a fan during the team's loss on Sunday to the Astros. His suspension began last night with the game against the Rangers. Red Sox also announced that his salary from the suspension, the 2 games, will be donated to PFLAG, formerly called Parents, Families, and Friends of Lesbians and Gays. Duran earned $760,000 a season, so he'll lose $8,172 over the course of the 2 games. Not a ton of money, but something.
Not a.
And Los Angeles Sparks forward Derica Hamby filing a federal lawsuit against the WNBA and her former team, the Vegas Aces. in regards to her treatment from the team after revealing she was pregnant. Hamby alleges that she was the subject of repeated acts of intimidation, discrimination, and retaliation from the Aces, leading to her trade in January of 2023 to the Sparks. Hamby also alleges that the WNBA failed to properly investigate the issue. She's seeking economic losses, compensatory, and punitive damages, along with attorney fees, according to that lawsuit.
Well, that's bad if that happened.
Yeah.
That's really, really bad.
Also, they had an earthquake yesterday in L.A., and that's where the ESPN studios are.
Were they shaking?
Yeah, Malika Andrews was doing a live shot when the building started shaking.
And it was so much fun to see, particularly the crowd sort of getting behind as we have a bit of an earthquake here in Los Angeles. So we're just going to make sure that our studio lights, everything stays safe, everything's shaking. You good, Mylan? Everybody good? All right, thank you so much for bearing with us through that. Our studio was shaking just a little bit. Tarsi, if you're still good in the studio and everyone's still good. All right, so this is what I want to show you now. Rebecca, I appreciate you just bearing with us here.
No, thank you.
She tweeted out, definitely a scary moment here in our LA studios. Thank you to our incredible staff and crew who stayed cool throughout. Stay safe, fellow Angelinos. A 4.4 magnitude earthquake near Los Angeles yesterday, and they're doing a live shot there with an interview, and all of a sudden the camera goes like this, and she's like, everybody okay?
I know this sounds so Midwestern, but that earthquakes are terrifying to me. And they live in an area where it's okay. Oh, we're having an earthquake, right. So whatever. If like we are with tornadoes, but no, thank you to have the ground shaking, and you don't know how serious it's going to get. That's the thing. Like It could be a little shake, or it could split open underneath us, and the road the road could swallow us whole.
Your deepest, darkest fear?
Well, you remember the bridge collapsed?
Oh, yeah. Dude, you're driving on the bridge one day, and now every time you go over a bridge.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. The videos from, the Twin Cities Bridge, the I-9, what was it?
Well, in California when
I was talking about the one right up in the cities, what I mean, from about a decade ago when the bridge goes, and you're watching these videos, and you're like, man, I don't ever want to drive over, you're not safe anywhere. But
the earthquake, no, thank you. And I'm sure, like I said, they feel that way about tornadoes, but...
Sports on Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. We'll get to Lincoln Park in just a bit.
Rock Mornings with Brian, Gene, and Shaw.
Who's ready for an awesome day?
I should be. I'm left-handed.
Are you right-handed or left-handed?
She's left-handed.
I thought I was left-handed.
I'm left-handed.
See, I'm a southpaw.
Southpaw.
Southpaw means you're left-handed.
I'm left-handed.
It's International Left-Handers Day.
Sinister being Latin for left-handed.
Raise your left hand.
I see you're left-handed.
Happy International Left-Handers Day.
It's showtime.
International Left-Handers Day, Shaw. It's a thing.
By the way, about 10% of the population is left-handed.
Yeah.
Most likely to be attorneys, architects, artists, musicians, and creative people.
Are you lefty, Shaw?
I am not.
I know Jean's not.
I'm not, but I do have a brother.
The way she writes, however, looks like, when you try to read it, a right-handed person writing left-handed.
Uh-huh. Right.
That's how illegible it can be. But Left-Handers Day, some little ways that the world is designed for right-handers.
Scissors.
Now, if you're a lefty, you're aware of all of these probably.
Right, I'm sure.
Right-handed people, we don't care. We're just like, yeah, man, hey, awesome, life's great. 1 in 10, as Gene mentioned. 1 in 10 people who are left-handed. Zippers on jeans. The flap covering the zipper is on the left, so it's nearly impossible to zip with your left hand. It's kind of like when you're a guy and you try to put on a women's shirt and the buttons are on the wrong side.
Does that happen to you often?
No, but I never noticed it until I tried to put on a woman's shirt for a costume or something like that years ago. And I'm like, what the hell? Why are these buttons over here? This is stupid. Are all the shirts like this for women? Yep. God, no wonder you guys are crazy.
And fake pockets. Mind blown.
Dude, we were at the bar over the weekend, and there was a girl. She had a nice gal and had a really pretty dress. And I said, hey, that's a really nice dress. She goes, it's got pockets! She screamed it out loud, dude. You will never find a woman happier. You could give a woman the best orgasm she's ever had, Shaw, and she won't be as happy as when she finds that dress with the pockets. They love the pockets.
It's rare.
And they cannot wait to tell you about them.
I don't understand it, but...
Oh, as a guy, we don't care. We got pockets and everything. Look at our pants. Look at my shorts, my cargo shorts. I got 8,000 pockets. You need a pocket? Have one. Take one of mine. But, dude, dresses and, like, you get the thing. You're like, what the? You made the thing there to make it look like it's got pockets. Just put an effing pocket in the damn thing. Yeah, they love telling you about them pockets, Shaw. Here's another thing that...
left-handers?
So little ways the world is designed for right-handers as opposed to lefties.
Okay.
Credit card machines. Swiper, always on the right side. And if there's a pen, it's tethered to the right side of the machine.
Good point.
Much like the pens at the banks. Nowadays, a lot of those electronic ones they're on the top. You seen those where they're like triangular? Maybe they're doing that on purpose for lefties. This one was interesting. I didn't even think about it until I saw this, and then I thought in my head, oh yeah, measuring cups. So if you've got like a glass,
oh sure, it's facing this way.
Well, if you're holding it right-handed, on the one side it's cups.
Yep.
But if you hold it lefty, it's milliliters. And so like that's not what the recipe calls for. Now I got to do math too? You son of a bitch. Car fobs. The key opens like a knife Shaw, where you got the little button and it opens up. The button is always set up for right-handers. Lefties have to open them up upside down.
90% of us are right-handed. That makes sense.
Yeah. Stupid left-handers. You get born. Why don't you get born correctly? Microwaves. If you push the button to open it with your left hand, your door hits the arm. Or the door.
Never thought about that.
Yep. Again, these are things, as right-handers, you're just like, dum-de-dum, just going through life, no big deal. Rulers and tape measures.
Yeah,
if you use
all that stuff.
Tape measure left-handed, the numbers are upside down. Power tools like chop saws, the handle you pull down is on the right. If you want to use it lefty, you got to cross your arms, reach over the blade, which is obviously not very safe.
Can openers are all
those. Yeah. Can openers and scissors are the two big obvious ones. Novelty coffee cups. If there's only printing on one side, and you're a lefty, it's facing away from you. Playing cards. A lot of them only have numbers in 2 of the 4 corners, so you can't see them well if you're holding them in your left hand, Shaw. And serrated knives, another way that the world is designed for right-handers. Even a lot of lefties didn't know the teeth are set up to offset the tendency to twist clockwise with your right hand, so lefties tend to cut things like bread much thinner at the top and then fatter at the bottom. Serrated knives.
Spiral notebooks, I know, is another one that's big in
writing,
school because the calluses on their hand, because of spiral notebook Shaw, or they have to turn them upside down. They do offer overpriced left-handed notebooks, apparently, but left-handed people trying to rub them against the spiral the center of it. By the way, Obama, George H.W. Bush, Gerald Ford, John McCain, and Ruth Bader Ginsburg were all
lefties.
Also got a text from Kelly who said, in all capital letters, pockets! Dude, you couldn't describe the joy on her face. Not because I complimented her on her dress. I was there with my wife. I wasn't trying to hit on her or anything like that. I wasn't trying to. Like, hey, that's a really pretty. And she didn't even care. She's like, it's got pockets. She just went right to it, man. Default setting. It was great. I felt very happy for her because I know that joy. My wife has that joy. When she found a dirndl for Oktoberfest one time, and somebody had put pockets in the actual dirndl, not in the apron that goes in the front, Shaw, but in the actual dress itself. They had put.
Like, it's got pockets.
Place my phone and my chapstick.
Well, have you seen women? It's been years probably, but women at the clubs. You know, if you're in your 20s, you know, and you go out and they've all got their hands are all like gargoyles because they're trying to clutch onto all these things: the phone, the little wallet purse, and whatever, their keys, whatever else is in there. They don't have any pockets in any of their clothes, so they don't have to. They can't put any of that stuff away. They got to carry it around.
They have pockets. They're just like fake pockets. You can't hardly fit a penny in them.
But that's what I mean. It's not even it's just the seam. It's just a hem, right?
Make a pocket. Make a pocket.
Yeah. Don't make it look like a pocket.
Well, happy Left-Handers Day. You don't have any. None of your kids are.
No, none of them.
Connor texted in, said his dad is left-handed.
Yeah, my brother is too.
Used to get hit with a ruler by his teacher using his left hand.
Ugh, stupid.
Trying to fix
him. They were trying to fix him. Sounds about right.
Not going to work.
It's also National Prosecco Day. That's champagne? And National Filet Mignon Day.
Ooh, that's what I'm having for dinner.
Are you really?
6, 8. What are we talking? 2, 4? How many ounces?
How many ounces? It's 0.7 pounds. 0.7 of a pound.
Is that for?
So a little over 5 ounces.
Okay. If you did the math.
Or no, well, a pound is what?
16.
16 ounces, so it's a little over 8.
Yeah.
That's a big-ass steak for you, bro.
Well, we're splitting it. But yes.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Never in my life would I split a steak with my wife. You know what, honey? This one's too big. I'll just cook it for the two of us. Never, not once, ever, never in my life have I ever been, you know what, I'll just get the one steak from the counter because it'll be big enough for my wife and I to split and then have leftovers.
Right. We are each going to have our own baked potato and salad, though.
It's called a dainty fillet.
Yes. Well, it was a big fillet. As the guy said, they got a bunch of honkers in there. They're all big cuts of fillet.
Honey, you want to
Mary, should we invite the kids over? I don't know, man. This 0.7 pound... This pounder, this less than a pounder is going to be too much for the two of us. We should have all three of the kids and their significant others come over.
God, if we have vegetables,
let's go get a dog too, just in case, because we may have some scraps to give to the dog.
Maybe some
the
leftovers.
newly adopted
no room
dog.
for dessert here.
Oh, Mary, I'm stuffed. My 0.45 ounces of this steak.
You never share a steak.
Oh my God. I eat more just by looking at it than you eat by eating it. I don't know what you're doing over there.
I get full easy.
Then he makes me do math. It's a 0.7 pounder. Yeah. It's all right. Whatever that is. 0.7 pounder. Yeah, enjoy it. All right, Mr. Steak Man.
Yes.
What's going on in the real world?
Well, after meeting for 5 hours yesterday without reaching a verdict, jurors in the Nia Tao murder trial will return to court this morning for more deliberation. Tao is on trial for the second time for allegedly firing the gunshots that killed 3 men at a West Salem quarry. That triple murder happened in 2021. Tao's first trial last year ended with a jury deadlock. A second suspect, Cam Radensack, already has been convicted and is in prison. The special prosecutor says Radensack wanted the victims killed and used Tao to do the dirty work of the actual murders. Tao's defense attorney says Tao did not have a motive for the shootings and that the evidence points to Radensack. A 55-year-old lacrosse man arrested last week after a suspicious death could appear in court today after refusing to take part in yesterday's hearing. John Stumlin was arrested late last week and is being held in the county jail without bond. Stumlin is accused of first-degree homicide in lacrosse and hiding a corpse. He was taken into custody after deputies were called to the mobile home park on Mormon Cooley Road last week.
Have we got a name on the deceased?
No,
okay.
Not on the deceased. They found the body outdoors. La Crosse County Judge Mark Huseman said Stumlin would not participate in a hearing yesterday afternoon, so the case will be called again during intake court today. 3 Wisconsin police officers who killed a student as he tried to break into his middle school with an air rifle this past spring will not face criminal charges. Prosecutors announced yesterday. The Dane County District Attorney said that they have exonerated Mount Horeb police officers Tyler Stevens, Carson Stoddard, and Steve Rosemeyer. That 14-year-old Damian Haglin's air rifle looked like a real firearm, and he refused repeated commands to drop the weapon. Investigators found writings in Haglin's journal 3 months before the attack. He planned to tell his mother that he was sick, steal a car, sneak into the school at lunchtime, burn down the library, and go after the popular kids. He then planned to escape and die, according to those documents. Wisconsin's U.S. Senate race will officially be set in today's primary election. The power of former President Donald Trump's endorsement will also be tested in a Republican congressional primary, and Democrats will decide on a candidate in a swing House district to take on a GOP incumbent. Wisconsin voters are also deciding whether to approve 2 constitutional amendments passed by the legislature that would take power away from the governor. Mookie Betts homered and drove in 3 runs to mark his return from a broken hand. Shohei Ohtani also went deep, and the Dodgers beat the Brewers 5-2 last night. The Dodgers took the opener of a 4-game series between the NL division leaders. Game 2 scheduled tonight with pregame beginning at 6:35 p.m.
Three-way with Shaw on International Left-Handers Day.
Today is National Left-Handed Day. Go ahead. Give it a try. It feels different, doesn't it?
I don't think that's what it means. But hey, you do you.
Living left hand in a right-handed world.
Guitars, there's another thing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Mostly designed for righties.
Rock Mornings, only on 95.7 The Rock.
Rock Mornings, Brian and Gene with Living Color. That is, of course, Cult of Personality. Got a email from Josh. Said, I am left-handed, but the only things I do left-handed are eat and write. Everything else I have learned to do right-handed. Shooting, golfing, throwing a baseball, turning a wrench.
So only some things?
He said all of the hand-me-down sports equipment kind of forced that issue.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, we're not buying you a special glove, you weird kid. You're getting your your right-handed brother's older glove. That's what you're getting. I suppose that's one thing. Connor said his dad is left-handed. He used to get hit with the ruler by his teacher using his left hand, hitting him on the left, trying to
correct it.
I said they were. I responded to Connor and I said they're trying to fix the devil's curse, and he said, "Not gonna lie, that's what his teacher said to him."
Oh, jeez! Wow.
I've heard it called that before. Yeah, there's superstitions about left-handed people. Corbin texted in and said, "Women don't need pockets when they carry a bag that could fit the entire state of Alaska in it." I've seen some of those as well.
I see that. My girlfriend has one of those. I'm a
You could fit
small
her
bag.
in that bag.
I know. And then she's like, "Oh, I've got cheese in here." I'm like, "Well, of course."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Purse
cheese.
Yeah. My wife's purse is not. She's got one bag that's bigger, but I don't see that one get busted.
That's for travel.
Well, she uses it for work because I think the laptop goes in there and some papers and stuff like that.
Yeah, one of those.
It's almost kind of like a briefcase or something like that. But her purse, the one that she carries with her pretty much everywhere, is smaller. But that thing is effing packed. Like, bricks are in there. I don't know what the hell.
See?
She's got
purse cheese.
She's got a toilet in there. I don't know what the hell she's got. Chad wants to hear some warrants. See what I can do. It is new release Tuesday. What?
The left-handed, apparently better for fighters, too. Like boxers and fighters and any kind of MMA stuff.
Well, yeah, because most people you fight against, you're fighting against a righty, so the southpaw has the advantage because it's something you haven't seen before. New release Tuesday, that movie If, the animated imaginary friends.
Yeah.
So it's rated PG, stars Kaylee Fleming, Ryan Reynolds, John Krasinski, Steve Carell, Bobby Moynihan, Emily Blunt, George Clooney, Matt Damon, Bradley Cooper, Bill Hader. So a lot of voices. A young girl who goes through a difficult experience begins to see everybody else's imaginary friends who have been left behind as their real-life friends have all grown up. Also on DVD today for new release Tuesday, Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. It's rated R, stars Anya Taylor-Joy and Chris Hemsworth, the origin story of the renegade warrior Furiosa before her encounter and team up with Mad Max. Also, the movie The Bike Riders. This is the motorcycle gang in Chicago. It's rated R. It stars Austin Butler, Tom Hardy, Michael Shannon, Norman Reedus. Kathy drawn to Benny, member of the Midwestern Motorcycle Club, the Vandals, as the club starts to go into violence and drugs and everything else, and she's got to figure out what the hell to do. Also, a movie called The Mousetrap. I think this is, remember, so Winnie the Pooh, intellectual property, right?
Yeah.
I think Mickey Mouse as well.
Oh, and this is the game then? This is the classic board game turned into a mousetrap? Is that?
No, Mickey Mouse, Disney, Mickey Mouse.
Oh.
And it's called Mousetrap. It's somebody's 21st birthday, stuck in an amusement arcade, late shift, so her friends decide to surprise her, but a masked killer dressed as Mickey Mouse decides to play a game of his own to decide which one of them was going to survive. Also, Beyond Paradise Season 2, Chucky Season 3, NCIS Season 21. That's what's new. On new release Tuesday, you've got Celebrity Family Feud on ABC tonight. Flavor Flav, yeah, boy.
Yeah.
Taking on Bobby Lee. America's Got Talent, quarterfinals on NBC. You've also got the stand-up special, Matt Rife, Lucid, a crowd work special on Netflix. So new comedy stand-up special for Matt Rife. Late night shows back after the Olympics. You've got Elizabeth Banks, speaking of the Olympics, Steven Nedorosik, the pommel horse guy.
Yep, the glasses.
They'll both be on with Jimmy Fallon.
How much you bet he's going to do the Rubik's Cube?
John Cena will be on with Jimmy Kimmel, but you won't be able to see him.
Can't.
Because you can't see John Cena. And Jeff Goldblum, who is the guest host for Kimmel this week, will perform with the Mildred Snitzer Orchestra featuring Haley Reinhart.
He's the guest host? That's interesting.
Bowen Yang and Nick Cave will be on with Stephen Colbert, Mia Farrow, and Simon Rich on with Seth Meyers. So there you go. That's what's new on new release Tuesday. And what's going to be on television tonight, Brewers will be on TBS against the Dodgers. You want to watch that game. We'll get to music in a bit from Jane's Addiction, and we'll talk to Scott Robert Shaw.
Rock Mornings, Monday to Friday, 6 to 9.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. A 14-year-old Great Pyrenees.
Oh, yeah?
Got out in Canada. Got loose. Ended up stuck in the mud along a riverbank. And when I mean stuck in the mud, I mean in the mud, can't get out, got a log on top of him, stuck there. Not sure how long he was there either, but a guy who is canoeing across Canada. Talk about people who have plans. Yeah, a guy who is canoeing across Canada happened to hear some sort of
it's like
barking behind him. He's a YouTuber as well. So he has all these cameras, right, that he's got on his canoe. And it just happens to be going by.
He just sees
turns around, and it's hilarious. You got to watch the video because he's got to, figure out if the dog is hurt or injured before moving him, right? Then he's got to get him out of this mud, and it's a huge dog, right? It's probably a 65-pounder, 70-pounder.
Easy.
And the dog is terrified. It's exhausted. It's not helping him because it's been there. It was stuck in the mud in a position where if it had tried to sleep, it probably would have had its head underwater and would have drowned. So it had to essentially stay awake the entire time. And it's probably barking and, trying to get help and whatever. And so he lifts the dog out and the eyes go pew like headlights, like high beams are on. And apparently the dog had never been in a canoe before either. So he gets him in his canoe and and ends up.
Does it flip?
No, the crazy part is the dog's exhausted, so it's just hanging out in the canoe, and he goes down to the next dock that's along this river, and gets out, sees some paw prints in the mud there along the dock, and walks, I don't know, half a mile, whatever it is, to the first house he sees, and it ends up being the guy who owns the dog, who lives right along the river, and the dog got out and went and was messing around and got stuck in the mud, and this canoe guy ended up saving his life.
Saw a dog stuck. I could just hear her barking. I actually passed her and then turned around and when I faintly heard the barking and turned around and went back to investigate. When I found her, she had a log was actually on top of the back half of her. I made sure we stayed there for a few minutes first just to make sure she wasn't injured or spinal injuries or anything.
The guy's name is Tom Hudson. Trying to canoe across Canada. Heard the sound. 14-year-old Great Pyrenees named Ivy, who had gone missing from her home nearby. Trapped under the log, stuck in the mud, covered head to toe. Able to get her out of the water. Got her in the canoe. Got her safely home. Washed her off. Gave her some treats. Yeah. All caught on video, too. Here's the eyes. This is the moment that he's picking up the dog and getting it out of the mud. Oh. Yeah, right? Big, huge, soaking wet, muddy dog.
My sister-in-law and her husband and kids have a Great Pyrenees. It's old girl like that.
The owner relieved that his dog finally coming home after he'd spent a day and a half looking all over for her. So the dog had gotten out and had been out for a few days and at least one night probably in the water there. Oof. Got herself a nice bath, though. Said she's a pretty lucky old dog that he came by when he did, because he could have went the other way on the other side of the river and he would have never seen her. I probably would have never found her. Yeah. Pretty crazy. Who the hell canoes across Canada? Well, you really
he's like from New Zealand, too. He's not even Canadian.
He's probably trying to canoe across all sorts of different places. Yeah. Good luck with that, buddy. A three-way with Shaw is coming up in just a bit. Also some Green Day and Korn. If you need something, find us online at rockmornings.com.
Rock Mornings with Brian, Gene, and Shaw.
The Olympic Games are over.
As NBC Olympics primetime host Mike Tirico.
Does your relationship with the omnipresent Olympic host have to be?
It's been great top to bottom.
The upcoming NBC schedule says no way. Coming this fall.
Mad about Mike Tirico.
How I Met Your Tirico.
It's always Mikey in Tiricoville.
The Price is Mike.
Hawaii 5 Tirico.
So you think you can Tirico?
2.5 Mikes.
Mighty Morphin Power Tiricos.
Walker Tirico Ranger.
Sponge Mike Square Tirico.
Mike Rider.
Law and Order Special Tirico Unit.
And The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, starring Mike Tirico.
The new NBC fall schedule. It's terrific. Or should I say, Tirico-rific. We will never let you escape him.
He was everywhere.
Omnipresent. Well, you got to have the yin and the yang, right? Mm-hmm. You got Snoop just kind of out there wilding, right? Showing up, making faces, doing funny videos. The dancing with the horse, hanging out with Martha.
Mm-hmm. Going to eat.
High-fiving the swimmer's wife with the baby and all that stuff, right? Doing all the things he was doing. And then you got Mike, who's steady Eddie.
Yep.
Just holding down the fort.
Very professional.
And he's going to be everywhere, man. Mike Tirico.
He did a good job, I thought.
I think
he's underrated as a broadcaster.
Yeah, he just kind of does what's expected of him. I don't think he puts too much personality on it.
Nope.
Doesn't try to make it about
Doesn't
him.
try to steal any of the spotlight.
Not coming up with catchphrases or weird sound. Whoop! He's not doing the Berman thing. He's not, trying to do Sports Center thing. He's, just good old reliable Mike Tirico.
Mm-hmm.
He'll be on NBC Sunday night. Well, didn't they change it last year with NBC Sunday Night Football?
Oh, I've lost track of who's on what channel.
It's still Collinsworth, right?
I think so.
But is he with him now, Tirico?
I forget.
Yeah, I can't remember either. I know they switched it up in the last 2 seasons. Everybody's everywhere else. Can't remember. Three-way with Shaw in the newsroom. What else happening?
A Toma man is charged after an attack on his mother Friday night. Police were called to the Restwell Inn after a report of a man beating a woman in the parking lot.
Oh, my gosh.
Officers arrived to find the injured woman covered in blood. She told police her son began punching her repeatedly, and police say Cameron Hetrick stabbed his mother in the head, breaking the knife off at the handle. Hetrick has said he was upset his mother had called him crazy and that he isn't sure the woman is his real mother. Hetrick's bond has been set at $100,000. He'll be back in court next month. The August primary voting ends today for a few different area races and a couple of constitutional amendments. Democratic voters will decide who's going to face Republican Derek Van Orden in the fall election. Rebecca Cook has been running for about 3 years now, having narrowly lost in the same primary 2 years ago. Also in the race is Wisconsin State Assembly Representative Katrina Shanklin and Eric Wilson, who considers himself a tech and housing expert but has no government experience. Wilson and Cook are both out of the Eau Claire area, while Shanklin is in Stevens Point. The other major thing on the ballot, 2 constitutional amendments that are telling voters about the power of the governor. Democrats say this would limit the governor's powers to spend federal money, such as COVID relief funding. 4 Wisconsin airports, including the La Crosse Airport, are receiving more than $6 million in federal funding. The funding, announced by U.S. Senator Tammy Baldwin, is intended to enhance safety, upgrade equipment, and upgrade facilities. The La Crosse Airport will receive $223,000 in federal money. That will be used to rehabilitate the aircraft rescue and firefighting building at the local airport. Airports in Milwaukee, Green Bay, and Marathon County will also see federal funding. A man attempting an epic 80-mile swim across Lake Michigan said he gave up on the 3rd day after losing 2 batteries for a critical GPS device and ending up badly off course. Jim Dreyer was pulled from the water after swimming 60 miles. He said he had been swimming from Michigan to Wisconsin for hours without his GPS, relying only on a wrist compass and his reading of the sky and waves. The support boat pulled him up and told him that he'd been swimming north all day in the wrong direction. Dreyer said his brain was mush and he was having hallucinations about a steel wall and cargo ships. Dreyer has done this before. He crossed Lake Michigan in 1998, starting in Two Rivers, Wisconsin, and finishing in Ludington, Michigan.
Speaking of the Great Lakes, did you see Lake Erie?
No.
They got a gator.
Oh, I did hear about that, yeah.
It's
like a baby gator?
No, 4 to 5 foot long gator swimming around Lake Erie. My guess is someone got it as a pet.
And then released the gator?
And then didn't want the gator anymore and either flushed it or just let it go or it's a prank.
Are they trying to
Oh, yeah. Authorities and animal rescuers are trying to wrangle up it's in Pennsylvania. It's not but it's in Lake Erie and they've got video and pictures of this thing out there. Imagine that one day you're just out there tubing with your family and all of a sudden, gator!
What are you doing here?
Nope. The Erie Port Authority also on the hunt for the reptile. Port Authority Executive Director Julie Slomsky says, quote, "This has been very unique for us.
Yes, we don't get a lot of gators.
We're taking this very seriously, and our team is being very, very diligent just to make sure we are keeping everyone safe." They say that the gator, likely a pet that was abandoned by its owner. But yeah, throw it in the lake. It'll be fine. No one minds when you throw a gator in a lake. Right, Shaw?
Well, look how long it's been there.
Well, could it survive winter?
No, I wouldn't think so.
Don't think they can, but it can survive summer.
Yeah, right now.
This is right now. You got a problem there in Lake Erie. Gators. Three-way with Shaw in the newsroom. We'll get back to him in just a bit. Going to get to sports after Korn and Green Day.
Rock Mornings on 95.7 The Rock.
Rock Mornings with Korn. That is Freak on a Leash. You got the Brewers dropping one to the Dodgers last night, 5-2, the final score. Second game of that 4-game series tonight at 7:10. First pitch on TBS. Red Sox, along with Major League Baseball, suspending their outfielder Jarren Duran for a couple of games after he uttered an anti-gay slur at a fan during the team's loss on Sunday to the Astros. Also going to donate his salary for the 2 games to PFLAG, formerly called Parents, Families, and Friends of Lesbians and Gays. Richard Childress standing by his grandson, Austin Dillon, after Dillon wrecked both Joey Logano and Denny Hamlin to win Sunday night's NASCAR Cup Series race at Richmond.
So he says it was okay, rubbing his racing?
Well, it certainly wasn't rubbing. It was intentional. Yeah.
Crashing?
Right, but he
says that's okay?
When you jump so many points and you make it into the playoffs, it's worth it, right? He knows he's going to get his comeuppance and he's going to get, wrecked on his, by both those guys or something's going to happen. But for him, financially and in terms of making the playoffs and trying to, to win the cup,
it's what had to be done.
Makes perfect sense.
But won't that just be revenge then? I mean, won't they just...
Well, yeah, but that's what part of NASCAR is all about. Dillon said he was willing to do anything to win because he hadn't won in 2 years. And Childress, who owns Dillon's car, said he told his grandson to do whatever it takes to win. He said they would have done it to him, It's one of those deals that when it comes down to winning a race and you're in that position, you're hungry, you do what it takes. That's what I told him all his life. It'll be interesting to see when he gets his, because it's coming. Logano and Hamlin both.
Yeah, I bet. They're going to be gunning for him.
No doubt. And 3 years after, Aaron Rodgers told reporters that he had been immunized against the COVID-19 virus, the quarterback says in a soon-to-be published unauthorized biography that he should have been more truthful about his status.
You done messed up, Aaron!
Aaron Rodgers, who previously said the controversy had a dramatic impact on his public image, told author of the book, Ian O'Connor.
Well, it was just so weird. He just walked
as soon as he said immunized, I knew he was lying. Right? No one speaks like that. Not even a goofball like Aaron Rodgers, right? You don't say those things unless you're trying to dance around it.
Yep.
You either did get the shots or you didn't get the shots, and I don't care if you did or didn't. Just what's the point of lying?
That's what I think. That was how.
If you didn't get the shots, just say no. I didn't get the shots. I'm allergic to something. I don't want to take them. I got religious beliefs. Whatever. But to say, I've been immunized.
Yes.
It's like you did it blatantly. We all know. But he said the primary reason that he claimed he was immunized was the statement represented the, quote, crux of my appeal. Whatever that means.
What does that mean?
I don't know. Aaron Rodgers, again, he's like one of those guys that tries to talk smarter than he is. You know what I mean? Tries to say things to make him sound smarter. He said, if there's one thing I wish I could have done different, it's that, because that's the only thing critics could have hit me with. But if I could do it again, I would have said, F the appeal. I'm just going to tell them I'm allergic to PEG. I'm not getting Johnson & Johnson. I'm not going to be vaxxed. Yeah, the book is called Out of the Darkness, The Mystery of Aaron Rodgers. Not quite sure when it comes out, but it'll be in the near future here. And says that should have said that he didn't get immunized or didn't take the shot or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think anybody with a brain in 2021 thought that Aaron Rodgers took the shot. Any of them. Because nobody talks like that.
Right. Everybody went, what is that? What are you talking about?
Right.
You're dancing around it, and we all know it.
But again, it's fine. Just say, look, man, I'm not taking your stupid shot. I don't want to take it. I'm not taking it.
It wasn't that, though.
Yeah. Anyways. Sports on Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Next hour, we'll talk to Grant Bills of the Wisco Sports Show, about 8:25. Going to get back to Shaw in a few minutes, plus Stained with their latest next.
Rock Mornings with Brian, Gene, and Shaw.
Is everybody feeling all right? Before you come to work today, I've got something that I just got to say. There's a reason everybody should be staying in the house tonight. Well, your temperature is bumping and your eyes and nose are running and your throat is tight. Find a half-mask face mask, grab yourself a government test. knocking the box down the block before you find yourself running out of breath. I'll tell you why. Because the COVID's back in town. Now if you're feeling run down, because the COVID's back in town. I don't think I'm making it in today.
At least 27 states reporting very high levels of COVID activity as the virus continues to spread and increase in parts across the country, according to the latest wastewater data from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. So they look at poop water, and then they could see the high levels of the COVID in the poop water, and they could tell
what I saw.
what's going on.
Yes.
The Western region continues to see the highest levels, followed by the South, Midwest, and Northeast, respectively. 17 states reporting high levels of wastewater viral activity.
Mm-hmm.
I think I know a few people that actually say they've got it right now.
My son had it a couple of weeks ago.
Really?
Mm-hmm. But he'd been at a convention with thousands of people for a week, so not surprising, all crammed in a hotel.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we just saw Noah Lyles, right, test positive at the Olympics. There was a couple other athletes, and get a figure. Probably going to happen, go around. Kid okay, though?
Yeah, well, yeah, he just had some mild symptoms. He's fine.
Gotcha. Well, that's good. But yeah, COVID rates are apparently going back up. We got a new strain or what? We got a new...
Not that I know.
No, not that I've heard.
Any of that? Okay.
Just water what the levels you were talking about, worse than last summer, whatever that means, quote unquote. So,
all right. What else is going on?
Jurors at the second murder trial of Nia Tao have not reached a verdict yet and will resume their deliberations late this morning. After discussing the case for 5 hours yesterday, the jury was allowed to break for the night. Tao is accused of shooting 3 men outside a La Crosse County quarry in 2021 in a dispute over a $600 debt owed to another man. His first trial a year ago ended when that jury could not agree on a verdict. Attorneys made their closing arguments yesterday morning. Defense attorney Aaron Nelson says the evidence points to Tao's friend, Cam Radensang, as the person responsible for the shootings and argues that a witness falsely blamed Tao out of fear. The August primary voting ends today in some area races, and a couple of constitutional amendments are being decided by voters statewide. Area Democratic voters will decide who's going to face Republican Derek Van Orden in the fall election. Rebecca Cook has been running for essentially 3 years now, having narrowly lost in the same primary 2 years ago. Also in the race, Wisconsin State Assembly Representative Katrina Shanklin and Eric Wilson, who considers himself a tech and housing expert but has no government experience. Also on the ballot, 2 constitutional amendments that seek to limit the power of Wisconsin's governor in terms of how to allocate federal money. This comes in the wake of the governor's decision to spend federal relief money designed to help with COVID.
Polls are open?
They are now, yes.
Okay.
Today is election day in Wisconsin, but the polls are not likely to be crowded. Light turnout is expected for today's partisan primary election, and many people have already cast their ballots absentee. The state's Elections Commission Administrator, Megan Wolf, said as of yesterday, more than 288,000 people in Wisconsin had already voted absentee. In the spring primary 2 years ago, voter turnout statewide was 27%. It was a record-breaking year at the Wisconsin State Fair. Organizers said more than 1.1 million people walked through the fair's gates this year. That attendance was the largest since COVID. A week of pleasant weather helped attract crowds.
Yeah, I bet.
This is the third straight year that the fair has seen more than 1 million people attend.
Not so much a sweat together when it's not 1,000 degrees.
That'll be in Minnesota next month, or later this month. And USA Gymnastics officials say an arbitration panel will not reconsider a decision asking gymnast Jordan Childs to return the bronze medal that she was awarded in the floor exercise at the Paris Olympics. USA Gymnastics says it will continue its efforts to let Childs keep the medal. They voided an on-floor appeal from Childs' coach that vaulted her to third, saying that appeal came 4 seconds beyond the 1-minute timeline for scoring inquiries. USA Gymnastics disputed the timing, saying the agency submitted video evidence that showed the Team USA coach first appealed 13 seconds before that deadline. Boy, that's got to be a roller coaster of emotions.
She has possession of the medal right now?
I believe so, yes. Okay. I guess it would go to a Romanian athlete if they do indeed take it away.
We got to bring everybody back to Paris and
put him up on the medal
do
stand
a big
again.
president.
This is rare,
Did she get the
though,
poster
isn't it?
too?
Yeah,
Did they have
I've
any?
never heard of such a thing.
She have to give up the poster that she got as well
Right,
in the gold box? No, to hold on to that one. Yeah, I think every year every time there's an Olympics, there's probably some disputed medals.
I guess I just don't remember it.
Yeah, I don't either. I didn't know there was a 1-minute deadline for appealing.
That seems very short.
It does, doesn't it?
Three-way with Shaw in the newsroom.
There's been a couple, apparently.
Get to another one in a bit, plus bad news, happy music later on. How are we looking for that?
Yeah, I don't have it all fully compiled yet, but let's see here. Yeah, I don't know. We'll get to something good.
Okay. All right. Plus, Grant Bills of the Wisco Sports Show going to join us at around 8:25.
Yeah, it looks like some of these that had these disputes or were stripped of medals were like, Lance Armstrong for
doping.
So doping and some other situations that reversed their medal call.
Highly suspect going to be in town in just a few weeks. Well, just a month from tomorrow, actually. A month from tomorrow, yeah.
September?
So a month from tomorrow, Highly Suspect will be at Copeland Park and Event Center. It's the third and final act in the Ultra Rock Summer Concert Series featuring Highly Suspect, Des Rocks, and Dead Poet Society. Tickets and information online at CopelandEvents.com. Here they are now with Lydia.
Rock Mornings on your rock station.
Rock Mornings with Highly Suspect. That is Lydia. Again, Grant Bills of the Wisco Sports Show going to join us in just a bit. Around 8:25. Got a text from Cheryl. Said our Daisy is half Great Pyrenees. She's about 115 pounds now, included a photo. Good looking dog. Big dog, too, obviously. But yeah, talking about that Great Pyrenees dog in Canada that got stuck in the mud along the riverbank, rescued by a canoeist guy trying to canoe across Canada. Also got a text from Abby, said, could you please play me some Bring Me the Horizon or Sleep Token? Thank you. Get to that in a bit. Connor talking about his dad.
He's a lefty?
The lefty, right? Saying the teachers used to hit him in the left hand when they would catch him using it. Called it the devil's curse. He said, when he has too much to drink, he tells me all sorts of different stories.
I bet he does.
About being left-handed. Chad wanted to hear some warrants. We'll try to get to that. Kelly was very excited to hear about Pockets. Somebody else very excited that Metallica is this weekend. Yes, that's true. Up in the cities. It is busy in the area, man. There's stuff going on everywhere.
Always is.
Cornfest, Big River Rally, Metallica up in the cities. See Pantera.
What are they doing?
They announced they're going to play at the First Ave on Thursday night. Tickets go on sale, I think, this morning at 10 a.m.
For isn't Thursday night as in 2 nights from now?
Yeah, as in the night before they play with Metallica.
They just decided to do a First Ave show?
A couple nights before, yeah. And the First Ave is like a small...
I do know.
Intimate kind of... I mean, it's not tiny, but it's much smaller than the Bank where they're playing with Metallica. That brings me back to my youth, man, seeing Pantera in nightclubs, not in stadiums. Whew. Yeah. And I think there's a very strict 6-ticket limit when those tickets go on sale later on this morning to see Pantera.
I'm sure.
At First Ave.
That'll be...
Thursday night.
Popular tickets.
Thursday night. Yeah, it'd be tough to get. They're going to sell out in seconds, is my guess. Their site might crash. I'm not hoping it does. I'm just saying it might. But yeah, that they announced that, I think, yesterday. That, hey, why not? We got an extra night off. We'll do a show. Do something, make a few extra bucks. We'll hear from Pantera a bit later on. Plus, we'll get to some Disturbed. If you need something, you want to get in touch with us, please visit our website, rockmornings.com. You can find all our contact info on there. You can also listen to the show live. You can check out our daily podcast as well. That Disturbed is next.
More of your Rock Mornings coming up in just a bit.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. That is, of course, Disturbed, Down with the Sickness. Sebastian Stan, 42 today. You know him better as the Winter Soldier. The Marvel Cinematic Universe. Sebastian Stan. 42. Kevin Tighe is 80. Actor. Been in a lot of stuff. He was on Lost. Way back in the day, he was on that series called Emergency. I think that was in the 70s, right? Most people around here would know him as the owner of the Double Deuce from Roadhouse.
My name is Tillman. Frank Tillman. I have a little club outside of Kansas City called the Double Deuce.
I thought you'd be bigger. Kevin Tighe, 80 years old today. Alfred Hitchcock, born on this day in 1899. Died in 1980. Also born on this day way back in 1895. The Cowardly Lion from The Wizard of Oz, a guy named Burt Lair. Died in 1967. August 13th, 110 years ago, back in 1914, a guy named Carl Wickman began using his car, which no one would buy. He was trying to sell it, but nobody wanted to buy it, so he started using it to take miners from their homes to the mines in Minnesota. His taxi service took off, and he was soon able to buy more cars to bring more mine workers to and from home. His little business, now known as the Greyhound Bus Company.
No need to worry about driving with someone you can trust. Go Greyhound and leave the driving to us. Go Greyhound and leave the driving to us.
Yeah, 110 years ago in Minnesota, Greyhound Bus Company got its start.
No idea.
God, nobody wants to buy this piece of crap, this old jalopy. What am I going to do?
Do you think people will want rides places? Yeah, give it a try.
63 years ago today, 1961, East German soldiers sealed the border between East and West Berlin to stop East Berlin citizens from using West Berlin as an escape route to flee communism.
Yeah.
Middle of the night, everybody sleeping. They tore up the streets, laid out the barbed wire, and then 2 days later, they began pouring the concrete that made the barrier known as, of course, the Berlin Wall. 1973, 51 years ago today, Lynyrd Skynyrd releasing their self-titled debut album featuring Gimme 3 Steps, Simple Man, and of course, Freebird. All 9 minutes and 20 seconds of it. Play Freebird. 1982, a couple of movies in theaters right across the hall from each other. The first one starred Sean Penn as Jeff Spicoli. You know it best as Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Hey, bud, let's party.
That was in theaters on this day in 1982. Right across the hall was Friday the 13th, Part 3.
I figured there had to have been a Friday the 13th released on the 13th of August at some point.
Well, you're in luck because there was another one. 11 years later. 1993, Jason Goes to Hell, the final Friday, also in theaters.
Yeah.
It was, however, not the final Friday.
No, just when you think it's the final Friday.
There have been several more. Yeah, 1993, Jason Goes to Hell, the final Friday in theaters. 27 years ago today, 1997, a little television show called South Park made its debut. The very first episode, titled Cartman Gets an Anal Probe. Matt Stone, Trey Parker, animated classic South Park got its start on this day in 1997.
Brown noise.
What?
The brown noise.
Oh.
Tom Cruise is in the closet.
1999, Detroit Rock City in theaters. They made a movie out of that?
Speaking of finals that weren't finals.
Well, it was obviously based on a Kiss song, but it was a movie. It had nothing really to do with
I know. Final Kiss
Kiss.
Tour.
They were in the movie. I think Ron Jeremy was in the movie, too, at some point. 1999. Isn't that Ed Furlong, right? Isn't that Ed Furlong in that movie? On their way to a Kiss show. All the shenanigans that happened. I think there was a robbery at a convenience store as well. 2004, Alien vs. Predator in theaters. Duking it out.
Not that new Alien movie this weekend? Is that
Alien Romulus in theaters this Friday, yeah. Looking forward to seeing that. 2008 in theaters, Tropic Thunder. Ben Stiller. Robert Downey Jr.
Mm-hmm.
Jack Black. Matthew McConaughey. Tom Cruise.
What's the name? Lance. Listen here, Lance. Lance. What the f*** did I just hear, Lance?
Did you say Lance?
No.
That sounded like Lance.
No, I said Nance. That's what I said, Nance.
It sounded like Lance.
Look, I'm Al Pacino, okay? I love the
Lance. I'm the dude playing another dude played by the other dude. I know who I am. Tropic Thunder in theaters on this day in 2008. 2 years later, The Expendables, the first one in theaters. Stallone and Statham and everybody else. 2016, Star Wars legend Kenny Baker died at the age of 81. It was him inside the R2-D2 costume.
So when we were at the Smithsonian American History, the original R2-D2 and C-3PO are there.
The ones from the first Star Wars film?
Yes.
Nice.
My husband
Behind
and my
glass,
son were
dorking out?
for sure behind glass. They were so dorking out.
And in 2018, just 6 years ago today, Jim the Anvil Neidhart died at the age of 63. There you go. Some stuff that happened on August 13th. Some birthdays as well. We got Scott Robert Shaw coming up in a few minutes for another three-way. Plus, we'll talk to Grant Bills of the Wisco Sports Show right around 8:25 this morning.
Rock Mornings. On air, online, on the app.
Rock Mornings, Brian, Gene, and Shaw in the newsroom. 0.7 ounces of steak for two people.
That's correct. They didn't have two small steaks. They had only large ones, so I figured we'd just get a big one and split it.
Actually, 0.7 pounds, correct?
Yes.
Not ounces, okay. And a baked potato?
Correct.
And a salad.
And a salad.
So it's an 11-ounce steak.
Thank you. Good math.
Yeah, I said a little more than 8. Right?
Yeah, a little 11-ounce steak. So not, split between two people.
So you're essentially getting a 5-ounce steak.
Yeah.
5.5 ounce, sixer.
Sure.
All right, that's not bad.
A sixer. They're almost a sixer.
It's okay.
Thank you.
Doesn't seem as sad.
When you put it that way, yeah.
It's still sad that you're splitting a steak with your wife as opposed to just getting your own damn steak.
I suppose I could cut it in half and grill them separately, but...
What's the point?
Right.
You guys feed it to each other like Lady and the Tramp?
No, we don't.
No, nothing like that?
No.
What's your taste like? I don't know. Mine tastes like yours, probably. None of that? No. How's your steak? I don't know. You want to try it?
So that's 6 ounces. I feel good about that.
Yeah, thank you.
Because I would order a 6 ouncer at a restaurant. I know you're not. You're shaking your head, but that's not probably a you thing.
He wants the engineer's cut.
Yes. I always tell him like, don't bother me with any potatoes or anything. I don't want any of that. I just want the meat. Bring me the big giant slab of meat. I'm going to start at this end and I'm going to finish at this end.
6 to 8 ounces per person is a average steak size, Shaw. So
you're average, Shaw.
I'm in the range.
Yeah.
You, Mr. Average.
If you're expecting larger appetites, though, Shaw, then you go big.
Right.
Then you can plan for 12 ounces.
What else are we doing today? What else going? We're voting, right? We got a primary in Wisconsin, right?
Polls are open until 8 o'clock tonight.
Okay. Until 8 o'clock. Okay. We get stickers for this one, too?
I don't know.
All right. And then when do we get to go again? November?
November will be the general election.
All right. What else is happening?
A 4.4 magnitude earthquake has struck the Los Angeles area. The U.S. Geological Survey said it struck shortly after noon yesterday. It was centered around the city's Highland Park neighborhood, about 7.5 miles below the surface. People reported feeling it strongly across Southern California. A medical building shook. A live interview on ESPN was interrupted. Some plumbing broke at Pasadena City Hall, and the ground swayed in Anaheim, home to Disneyland. If nothing else, former President Donald Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris agree on one thing, at least. Both say they want to eliminate federal taxes on workers' tips. But experts say there's a reason Congress hasn't made that change already. It would be complicated, not to mention enormously costly to the federal government to enact.
Can I just get paid in tips then?
Right. And don't have to report anything.
Can we switch my pay up here?
Both candidates unveiled their plans in Nevada, a state with one of the highest concentrations of tipped service workers in the country. Mars may be drenched beneath its surface with enough water hiding in the cracks of underground rocks to form a global ocean, according to new research. The findings released today are based on seismic measurements from a NASA lander. This water, believed to be 7 to 12 miles down in the Martian crust, most likely would have seeped from the surface billions of years ago when Mars harbored rivers, lakes, and possibly oceans, according to the leading scientist. But just because water may still be sloshing around inside Mars does not mean it holds holds life. The Boston Red Sox have suspended Jarren Duran for 2 games without pay after he shouted a homophobic slur to a fan behind home plate who was heckling him in a loss to the Houston Astros. That exchange, caught on a live mic Sunday during a broadcast of the game, happened when Duran was at the plate in the 6th inning. He issued an apology through the team on Sunday night and again in the clubhouse on Monday. The Red Sox said Duran's salary during that suspension will be donated to the Federation of Parents and Friends of Lesbians and Gays. The Berlin Zoo has some much anticipated news. Meng Meng, the panda, is pregnant again. Months after the first giant pandas born in Germany were sent to China, the zoo said that ultrasound scans showed Meng Meng is expecting 2 cubs. They still have plenty of growing to do, but they expect a birth at the end of August if all goes well. Giant pandas have difficulty breeding, and births are particularly welcomed.
Yes.
There are only about 1,800 pandas living in the wild in China and a few hundred in captivity worldwide.
And we're getting giant pandas in the Washington
loan,
Zoo
right?
in
Yes,
December.
loan from China.
December,
Yes.
I believe.
Very cool. Three-way with Shaw in the newsroom. We'll get back to him in just a bit for Bad News, Happy Music. Got Grant Bills in a few minutes. Talking Packer training camp and preseason action. Maybe a little bit of Brewers in there as well. NBA schedule.
Is it? Oh my gosh,
Opening.
is that a thing
Yeah,
already?
Already. Oh, yeah,
boy.
man. It'll be here before you know it. Right now, it's The Offspring.
Rock Mornings with Brian, Gene, and Shaw.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. That is, of course, the latest from The Offspring. Make it all right. Joining us on the phone right now, as he does right around 8:20, 8:25-ish on Tuesdays, is the host of the Wisco Sports Show, the one and only Grant Bills. How are you, sir?
I am well. I set my alarm every time this week because it's one of my favorite things that I do every week is talking to you two guys. How are you?
Good.
There's a lot of crap outside of Gene's office, so that's always a good sign
Why
that
does
something's
Gene
happening.
always have so much stuff? Why does she always have so much stuff?
She's a girl, first of all, and she's crazy. And the crazy can't just live in her office. It has to make its way out of here into the common areas of the building. So.
Well, Grant, you did hear we're doing this thing called Big River Rally this weekend, right?
Yeah,
So there's a lot of
I was
stuff.
going to say, it has nothing to do with the fact that Gene is responsible for basically every event that takes place in lacrosse every single weekend.
I just have a lot of stuff.
That probably has something to do with it, too.
Yeah, and your buddy, your cohort there, your co-captain, if you will, Bill Michaels, is going to be coming to town for the Big River Rally. He's taking part in the Saturday ride, which leaves from Great River Harley-Davidson, goes down to Hillsborough Brewing Company, and then back up. And, of course, ends up at the Fest Grounds where we'll have live music. Jackal's going to be here and whatnot. Have you spoken to Bill about the rally? Is he excited? Is he even aware that he's doing this? Or have his people gotten in touch with him or what?
Well, his people are basically limited to him and me. So his people are all over it. Rest assured. No, he'll be there. He was, well, first of all, he's going to be in La Crosse on Thursday night for a cigar dinner.
Nice.
And then he's coming back. Maybe it's tomorrow night. I am not people that's in charge of the cigar dinner stuff, but I know he's going to be in La Crosse earlier this week.
Okay.
And then later this week coming back, he's doing the ride, I think, with Jesse James Dupree, and he was asking me, like, hey, do you know this spot? And I believe one of the spots is in Coon Valley. I'm like, oh, my God, I love Coon Valley. Where do they go? Lafarge. And there was a name, Nordic Dairyland Country or something. That's where the ride goes through, and he was describing it yesterday. I'm like, I'm not a motorcyclist, but if I was, that's where I'd want to go ride because it's beautiful down there.
Is he bringing his own bike, or is he going to get one from Harley?
I think he's bringing his own ride.
Oh, really? All right. Because I know he rides, obviously, on his own. But
Like, he should be bringing his own.
All right.
He'll probably bring it in the trailer. I don't know that he's going to ride it across the state, although I don't know. I don't want to speak for him. But, yeah, I think he's bringing his hog.
Well, Grant, let's talk quickly about all things Wisconsin-related when it comes to sports. Packers, first preseason game, a win over the Browns. Not that the win matters, but Jordan Love, the touchdown pass, everybody was wowed by that. But it sounds like that's going to be it for him in the preseason. No more offensive starters out on the field for the final 2 preseason games. Is that what you're hearing as well?
I know about this next game with Denver. I think they're going to do a lot of work with the starters. They have joint practices, which head coaches have really started like the last couple of years. I don't know about game number 3. Traditionally, starters never play. Even for teams that play starters at some point, starters don't normally play in game 3, but I don't know. Matt LaFleur seems pretty high on the idea that guys need reps preparing for a game and going through the process of, getting dressed. Like, I think that was his idea of why he wants to play starters. It's not necessarily that he wants to get out there and run plays and do things. it's kind of getting in the right mindset to compete in games again. So I wouldn't be shocked if no other starters played. Saturday was perfect, right? They got in, they scored a touchdown, and they got out. And then the young guys, especially on defense, got a chance to get lots of reps. So very limited injuries. I think that's the best case scenario in the preseason, right?
Yeah, obviously, and what I read after the game on Saturday was that Jordan Love was likely done for the preseason in terms of game action, would obviously see time during the joint practices, but that he wouldn't be getting in to game 2 or 3 because there's no point.
Yeah, probably not. I would bet against it. I know that Matt LaFleur specifically has said not this weekend. I don't know that he's ruled out game 3, but I think it, like you're saying, I think it's probably safely assumed because it would be pretty out of character. Most head coaches, that game 3 is for roster bubble guys, bottom of the roster guys, never the starters.
Yeah, practice.
So I think that's a very safe assumption. Yeah.
Now, forgive my ignorance, but who is the Packers' backup quarterbacks? Who are they? Do we know?
Well, we have Sean Clifford, second-year man out of Penn State, who's had a little bit of a rough camp, but I thought he was okay on Saturday, and their offensive coordinator said he's more of a game player than a practice player,
right?
Which is kind of a badass thing as a quarterback. Like, I don't know, that's kind of cool. And then Cooper Pratt, the guy they just drafted, I think, out of Tulane.
Now,
that's the green wave, the mean green.
That's what I thought. They had nothing but young guys. So are they looking to bring in a veteran quarterback? Because let's be honest, if Jordan Love goes down, you don't want one of those two guys in there, right?
See, this is a classic sports radio topic, Simpson, around this time of year. It's should starters play in the preseason, and should my team go after a veteran backup? That's one of the.
You have to have a veteran backup. I mean, that's a given when you're a football team in the national, the NFL. You got to have a veteran backup.
I don't know that you do. The Packers like to develop their guys. They're cost controlled, right? They're cheap right now. The most expensive backups in the league, like how much is Sam Darnold making?
Too much.
Or Gardner Minshew. Like those are guys who are too much for a team like the Packers. So. That's just the way that they did it with Brett Hundley. They did it with Deshaun Kaiser. There's other ways to do it, like the Patriots notoriously, Brian Hoyer and others for a long time. They were your team that had veteran backups. But it's something that we talk about all the time, especially on Sports Talk Radio. It's just not something that the Packers really have ever done.
Well, you just look at the Flacco situation last year. You know what I mean? They bring in Flacco, and they end up going to the playoffs with him. It's like, you put some guy in there named, Cooper Pratt? I don't know if you're getting the same results.
Maybe not. The Browns situation was also different because they pivoted. I don't know that I think Joe Flacco was on his couch, right?
Yeah, so, they got him off the couch.
So if Jordan Love goes down and then the Packers know he's going to miss the rest of the year, I wouldn't be shocked if they called around and they got somebody like that to come join their quarterback room. They've never really started seasons with guys like that. They brought Matt Flynn back once upon a time when Rodgers went down, but that was in the middle of the year.
Yeah, 6 touchdowns in a game, right? 6? Was it 6 touchdowns? I think it was against my Patriots, actually, where he did that. Tom Brady.
Oh, yeah, he almost beat the Patriots in Foxborough.
Yeah,
the only reason
the Tom
he didn't
Brady
in 2010 is because he didn't know the 2-minute offense.
Yep.
Wow, I forgot about that.
How could you forget? How do I remember that and you don't?
Well, you're just a better sports fan. You East Coasters, it just means more to you.
I hear you ripping on Jason Tatum on your stupid show as well. I don't know what your stupid problem is. I tune in, and the first thing I hear is, Jason Tatum and this, that, and I didn't play in the Olympics, and I hate Jason Tatum, and blah, blah, blah. Dude, you have a hard-on for Jason Tatum. I think you might have a secret, jealous streak for him, because you talk about, for a guy who's a Wisconsin dude, every time I turn your show on, and it's not very often, it's like Jason Tatum is the first word out of your mouth. Like, I know the Olympics just wrapped up, and that was kind of the dicey situation there in the Olympics with him not playing in a couple of the games. But, man, you seem obsessed with this guy.
Well, I don't know if obsessed is the right word. I just don't think he's as good. Like, he's Nike's golden boy. The Celtics win the finals on the back of Jaylen Brown and others, not on the back of Jason Tatum. And the first commercial that rolls after the game is over is a Jason Tatum commercial for Nike. It's like they want this guy to be the guy so bad.
You know why?
And I get that he's marketing, but
he's vanilla pudding.
Yes.
Everybody just sort of, you know what I mean? He's not going to offend anybody. He's vanilla pudding. He doesn't get mad. He doesn't get in anybody's face. He's friends with everybody. He's one of those guys.
He doesn't move the needle at all.
But any true fan of the Celtics will tell you that Jaylen Brown is the real deal. I mean, he's the guy, that deserves the accolades when it comes to, look at how he polished up his dribbling game. I mean, the guy couldn't handle, he had no handles a couple of years ago in the finals, and this year it was great. So, yeah, Tatum's an excellent basketball player, but you're obsessed with the guy, I think. Have you got a poster of him on your wall?
I'm not obsessed with the guy. I talked about him once last week because my show started right after one of the big Olympic Games, and Tatum didn't play. It was a big story, right? Simpson, if Tatum was on another team and you had to endure the propaganda, right, the propaganda machine that Nike and the NBA throws at basketball fans, and then he doesn't play in the Olympics, and his mom makes a stink about it, his mom. You're telling me you wouldn't roast that guy? I know you would, and you should, because it's funny, and that deserves to get a little, that deserves to get made fun of. Don't you agree?
His mom was in there, okay.
Grant, it's nice to know that you have so much space in your head for rent-free living, because that's what Jason Tatum is doing. He's living up there rent-free in your brain.
I think that's an exaggeration, but he does bother me, and I do sometimes. So thank you for sometimes listening to my show. Sometimes. I'll take sometimes. Not every day, but what did you say? Not very often.
Wow. It's not often that I am listening to the radio at 4 in the afternoon. Generally, that's the end of my day, and I'm in front of the television. Or maybe sitting.
Your day's over long before that, Simpson.
Maybe sitting in my massage chair, but.
So Wisco Sports Show, tell me about that. Listen in Eau Claire. Where can we listen here?
Yeah, run down your stations again. We don't remember. You got to remember this.
WKTY in La Crosse. We have Sports Talk 105.1 up in Eau Claire, which is also on the AM dial, a little more reach, 790. Down in Madison, if you're down in that corner of the state, on the south side of the state, 1670 AM, 96.7 FM, just like WKTY. That's easy to remember. And, by the way, starting yesterday, we now have a live stream. And I say we, me. The show now has a live stream. It is streamed on Facebook, on my show Facebook page, on my YouTube account, and it will be hopefully streaming on Twitter as soon as Elon figures his stuff out and gives me the blue check mark that I paid for. I paid $80 to Twitter, and they still haven't let me get verified yet, so I'm a little hung up on that. But
well, I hope you update your Facebook page a little more often, because I got to be honest. So I was going to tag it in one of our posts, but there was zero info on your Facebook page from weeks and weeks and weeks, and I was like, what the hell is this guy doing?
Are we following the right thing? Is it the right one? Are we following the right one?
Yeah, I come and go on Facebook, but I did post on it. I posted on it twice yesterday, the stream for my show, and then a little Brewers post last night. So
Holy
look, I can't
crap.
be chronically online.
Did you take a break? Did you take a smoke break after those two posts? Because it sounds like you need one.
Oh, there's Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills.
I found it. 10 a.m. Dude, you go home at 10 a.m., Simpson. Don't tell me. Don't tell me about.
You can schedule. You can schedule posts on Facebook too, right? So that you don't have to try to work too hard. You can get it done in advance.
I share with my listeners what they need. I don't inundate them with clickbait for my engagement numbers. That's selfish. I would never do that.
I'm following you. I just saw you drink it out of a coffee cup.
There he is, the one and only.
I'm liking that.
Grant Bills from the Wisco Sports Show. Check him out weekday afternoons. Thank you, Grant. We'll talk to you next week.
Love you both. Talk soon. Bye.
Bye.
He's so salty about that Facebook stuff.
Well, the blue check mark is he paid for it.
Well, that's what you get.
That's
what you get when you go on Twitter. That's what you get. You start paying for social media. That's what you're going to get. Dark Void from Asking Alexandria coming up, plus bad news, happy music.
Rock mornings, only on 95.7 The Rock.
You're about to enter a beautiful, exciting, wonderful new world.
A cockroach living in your nostril.
Now that's just nasty.
Add in some haven't pooped for 30 days.
Poop is raining from the ceilings. Poop.
And sprinkle in some #Florida Man for flavor.
Florida man.
Florida man.
Florida man.
Florida man.
Florida man.
Florida man.
Florida man quits his Burger King job, steals all of their chicken nuggets.
It's bad news.
Bad news.
With happy music.
Let's rock.
Tuesday edition of Bad News, Happy Music. What do we got, Sean?
Well, this is actually pretty cool. When Jordan Childs has been asked to return her bronze medal from the 2024 Paris Olympics, she may end up with a unique piece of hardware courtesy of Flavor Flav. The rapper has offered Childs a bronze clock necklace to replace her bronze medal.
Yeah, boy!
Flavor Flav, known for his trademark timepiece necklaces, was in Paris for the Olympics as part of his duties as the official hype man for USA water polo. Now, Childs was stripped of the bronze medal in the floor exercise after the Court of Arbitration for Sport voided an appeal by Childs' coach that vaulted her to third, saying the appeal came 4 seconds beyond the 1 minute time limit for scoring inquiries.
These dorks.
Flav made his offer on the day of the closing ceremonies of the Olympics and shared a video of the completed blinged out timepiece as well.
You haven't made your appeal in the right amount of time. Right. We're going to have to discredit you and take your medal back.
Yeah, that change outraged the Romanian delegation, which is the team that appealed. They found that because the U.S. had filed their appeal 4 seconds late, that she will have to return the bronze.
We were counting all 4 of them.
1,
2, 3, 4. They're in wrong. We're right. Give us the medal.
Drivers with ghost license plates are costing New York City a whopping $200 million a year, fueled by a growing online industry peddling James Bond level gadgets.
This is great. Like, remember the license plate flips around?
Yep.
And the James Bond car?
Yep.
Yeah.
New
Same
York,
thing.
They're doing this so they can, because they got the traffic cameras and they take your picture if you're speeding or
the toll booths.
Or the toll booths.
So they're like,
you're supposed to have like the Easy Pass, and if you don't have that, then they get your license plate and then they send it to you in the mail.
But they're flipping them?
Yeah, they're making it impossible to read them. The rogue vehicles whiz through tolls and past speed cameras 100,000 times a month using their unreadable plates to dodge fines and to avoid penalties. Some of them are driving without a plate altogether or using plates that are scratched out or obscured by reflective covers that are completely phony. They say that the growing concern has led them to try and launch crackdowns in New York. They ended up snaring 200 drivers who had these obscured license plates. One such plate, available for sale on a Facebook Marketplace, bills it as a vanish license plate. With the press of a key fob, a cover drops down over the license plate like a garage door, completely obscuring its letters and numbers.
Hell yeah. Like it.
A man who spent 8 years of his life working to combat gun violence in Colorado shot a 28-year-old man in the head over the weekend. Apparently, as attendees of a child's birthday party watched in horror.
Oh, that's nice.
The fatal shooting came nearly a year after the death of the suspected shooter's son. Lumumba Sayers is facing first-degree murder and felony menacing charges stemming from the Saturday shooting. His son was shot and killed in 2023. This weekend shooting happened at a pool party for a child. They say Sayers walked up and shot the victim in the head at close range. The witnesses say that the shooter's son had been murdered a year ago by a friend of the deceased, and this murder was likely in retaliation or revenge.
Oh, dude.
Right. He spent 8 years working to combat gun violence. And
that
kill
is
somebody
some
with a gun.
black, dark stuff.
Yes.
Well, I don't know. I mean, you don't know what happens in the mind of a parent when their child gets killed.
But planning this out to wait till it was a birthday party,
well,
that's
it wasn't
what I'm
even
saying.
the person that did the killing.
It was a friend of the person.
According to your story, right?
Correct. It was a friend of the person who did the shooting. Yeah.
Was the person who did the shooting not there?
I guess not.
Oh, wow.
To say this criminal was known to police would be an understatement. In Burlington, Vermont, a man with nearly 230 law enforcement encounters in the past year is back on the streets again. Police arrested Patrick Ibbotson once on Thursday and Friday, and then twice on Saturday for violating conditions of his release. They say they identified him on surveillance video burglarizing a business. The most recent incident happened Saturday afternoon. Police got a call that this guy was banging on the doors of a church after having already been removed from the building. Police arrested him. A judge released him to appear in court at a later time. They say this guy's been arrested 69 times and has 35 active criminal court cases pending in Vermont court.
He's a pro.
That guy, yeah, he should go pro. What do you
go pro?
You sign a 1-year deal with an incentive?
Right.
Is it incentive-related contract, or what's the deal here? You get all that money up front?
Mm-hmm.
Boy, oh boy. It's good to know that for every law-abiding citizen out there's some
that
guy
guy.
like this lunatic who's getting arrested 230 times in how many days? In 2 years?
In a year.
In a year. 1 year. 230 run-ins with the law. All right.
He wasn't arrested in all of them, but he was involved.
That's like all the time.
Every day.
Every day.
Well, it's time for our daily bill.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go get Bill. Here we go. Where are you, Bill? I'm breaking into the church this time. Ah!
An employee of a phone repair store in Oklahoma City was arrested after he sent himself an explicit video from a female customer's phone while he was supposed to be fixing it.
Ooh.
He apparently thought he could get away with it by just texting it to his phone number, but he was caught before he even returned the phone. The woman was using her computer while the phone was being fixed, and it was synced with the phone. She saw a notification that a text had been sent from her phone to an unknown number. The message was that naughty video that she had on her phone. She kept it in a locked photo album, so she immediately knew that he had accessed it and sent it. Also, the phone number it was sent to was the same one that was on the guy's business card that he had given her.
Yeah.
He was charged with larceny and computer crimes.
You ever seen a grown man naked?
No, but I got a video of that chick off her phone.
Mm-hmm. A bicyclist who tried to cross a major Big Sur landslide in California fell more than 100 feet toward the ocean, suffering injuries and requiring a helicopter rescue to be airlifted to a hospital. 28-year-old Cody Mortensen was warned that there was no safe route through Regent Slide, according to the California Highway Patrol. It is against the law to ride, drive, or walk past a road-closed sign. This landslide was triggered after fierce winter rains. The area is steep and lacks a trail. As Mortensen approached the slide, a construction worker told him the road was not passable and that if he attempted to do so, he would likely die.
Sounds like a bicyclist to me.
Yeah, still, the guy went for it anyway.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, and guess what? He didn't make it.
That's your standard bicyclist right there. Doesn't pay attention, doesn't care about the rules and regulations.
He survived the fall, but fell about 100 feet, had to be taken to a hospital for cuts to his arm and possible head trauma. He faces at least 2 charges now, including disregard of failing to obey a person directing traffic and failing to obey the traffic signs.
Was he wearing the spandex outfit, Shaw, with the special little bicycle gloves?
Little place for his water bottle and all that.
They have the helmet, the cool little helmet there, make him more aerodynamic as he goes down the landslide.
And it may seem unfair, but being unattractive could mean you're more likely to die younger than your good-looking peers. In fact, so-called ugly men live nearly a year less on average than those who are considered good-looking.
Hell yeah, I'm going to live forever.
And unattractive women die on average 2 years earlier than those who are more blessed in the looks department, according to a new U.S. study.
What about bulbous noses? Is that included in there?
I don't see that as a criteria here.
Bulbous? What if you have a bulbous nose?
Yeah.
There's a Wisconsin connection to this story. The researchers analyzed data from a long-running study that tracked more than 8,300 Wisconsin high school students from 1957 to their old age or death in 2022.
Are they obsessed with the Wisconsin people? Or are we like the...
Well, I think that was a kind of a groundbreaking thing that they did back in the 50s, so that's kind of the benchmark, and then they can use that as the baseline. Researchers also collected yearbook photos and had independent arbiters rate their attractiveness.
Oh.
The looks of the participants were then ranked into 6 categories, from most to least attractive. Researchers compared the deaths that occurred in group up to 2022 and found almost half of the sample had passed away. In the bottom of the 6 categories, those in the bottom of the 6 categories for attractiveness were 16.8% more likely to have died than those in the middle 4 rankings. They say those whose facial attractiveness was rated in the least attractive range had a higher mortality rate throughout their life compared to those rated average or high.
Is it me, or was that the ugliest baby you have ever seen?
I couldn't look. It was like a Pekingese.
Boy, a little too much chlorine in that gene pool.
It's breathtaking.
How much extra time do you get when you're pretty? A year or 2?
Yeah.
All right. It's always those years at the end, though, you know? You really want
really
those?
that pretty anymore?
Right.
When you
at
just
this age?
When everybody's just pooping their pants anyways? You know what I mean? Somebody's got to wipe your butt.
Pretty woman, won't you pardon me, pretty woman?
Yeah. I don't know. Does it matter at that point? You get that extra year? Good for you?
Probably not.
More mashed peas for you? No? Bad news, happy music. Thank you, Sean.
Yep.
Appreciate it. Talk to you tomorrow. Going to get to our daily check-ins after Bush.
Rock mornings, Monday to Friday, 6 to 9. Call.
Hello?
Email.
I tried emailing you.
Text. So many ways to check in with us.
Check.
We rely on you guys for traffic updates, requests, and all sorts of other stuff.
Check this out.
Lots of feedback today as we talked about some interesting stuff, including Left-Handers Day. Got an email from Josh. earlier this morning. Said that he is left-handed, was born left-handed. But the only things that he does with his left hand, write and eat.
All sportsing is done.
Said he learned to do everything else right-handed. Shooting, golfing, throwing a baseball, turning a wrench. He said it was mostly because of hand-me-down sports equipment from his older brothers, or maybe...
Yeah, we're not buying everything now left-handed for
Other
you.
people.
Just you got to figure it out. You're going to have to figure that out.
Got a text earlier from someone that we were talking about stuff going on this weekend. Obviously, the weather. Talking about Big River Rally. They also texted in and said, more importantly, Metallica is this weekend.
That's also true.
Up in the cities. Yeah. You got about an hour before those Pantera tickets go on sale for their show at the First Ave on Thursday night. Talking about that girl that I complimented this weekend on her dress.
Saw her out in a sundress or something and said, nice dress, and she said it's got pockets.
Yeah, so we were in the bar watching, I don't know what the hell we were
Basketball.
watching.
Men's basketball
Men's
final.
basketball, yeah. And, you know, this couple came in and she had a really pretty dress on. It was really nice and colorful. And I just, wanted to say, hey, that's a really pretty dress. And she said, thanks, it's got pockets. And she was very excited to tell me that it had pockets. She didn't care about the compliment. She didn't care that she looked really good in the dress. She just cared that it had pockets and she wanted to show me. Kelly texted in and said, pockets, yes. Chad wanted to hear some Warrant, didn't get to it. Sorry, Chad. Corbin texted in and said, women don't need pockets when they carry a bag that could fit the entire state of Alaska in it. Looking at you, Lori Morton Lockley. Looking at you.
Looking at you. My bags,
We could play the same game with Lori's bag that we played with the boss's desk. We used to play a game here when the boss's office was over here, closer to our studio.
Oh, you mean how the messy desk?
His desk was heaped with trash.
It was.
Just papers and stuff everywhere. And we would play a game. What's the oldest piece that we would bet to figure out who would come closest to the date on the piece of paper we would pull out from the bottom of the stack?
You start at the bottom, you pull out the oldest. How long ago was it?
Right. And Lori's trash purse is probably similar to that, where you try to figure out what's the weirdest item at the bottom of this
Purse
thing.
Cheese. You want some cheese for my purse?
Was it wrapped
No.
at least?
Oh yeah, it was like
a baby
little
bell?
baby bells
Oh,
or
okay, all right.
a stick
I thought you
or
meant
whatever.
it was just
No, but just in your purse carrying cheese around.
Somebody wanted to hear, let's see, Abby. Abby said, can you please play some Bring Me the Horizon or Sleep Token? Try to get to that after 9 o'clock. Thank you very much for all the correspondence. Good to hear from you guys. Hope you have a great rest of your Tuesday. We'll talk to you tomorrow.